Hey, how you doing, everybody? Steve Bexley, the X-Man, is here with another 40-minute showgram as I take off my earphones. And ooh la la, Basson, if you folks could only have watched what we did, everything, and I mean everything, was a little gravitational tonight in the land of football. And don't be surprised if what Nickelodeon did, and I mean did, gets used by its mothership on some of the NFL games. Because I got to tell you something, Nickelodeon did good.
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
I mean, they did excellent on their first broadcast of an NFL game. Yes, Nickelodeon, the kids network, aired an NFL game today. It was the wild card game between the Chicago Bears and New Orleans Saints. And I got to tell you one thing. If one of our gurus here can pop up for me back in the control room, the cast of characters, let me just do this whilst we do that. Meanwhile, back at the forum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-dee-boop. Boop. So here we go, kiddies. Oh yes, it was fun. I mean, that was fun, and yes, we're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to talk about the game in general.
Maybe it's because you're so tight with Sam.
But
or maybe it's talking.
It was wild. Nate Burleson, who is one of the hosts of one of the folk of the NFL Today, along with Noah Eagle, the son of CBS Sports, and Gabrielle Neva Green, along with the guy who's got a name that fits and is perfect. Lex Lupton. And my, they brought out everything. I mean, the traditional, the trademark Nickelodeon slime was in abundance. Even virtual slime cannons, if they went for a touchdown. That was incredible. It was not only slime cannon, but they had everything from a slime first down marker to a slime everything. They even had their own trophy for what they call the MVP. And they did a separate broadcast in CBS. CBS had Jim Nantz at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, while Tony Romo was over at KTVT, Channel 11, CBS 11, the owned and operated station in Dallas-Fort Worth. Something happened to his hat. Chris, are you there? Percy, Gregorio. Somebody talk to me. Where's LaSalle? Where the hell did they go? We found his hat. I mean, he doesn't have his hat. I tell you, it was wild. I'm just going to say it. It was a wild game. In fact, we're going to talk about that as we take you through all 6 of the Saturday wild card weekend and Sunday. So let's give you the top 3, and then we'll tell you where everyone's going to be going in the next step to Super Bowl 55. Ravens beat the Titans 20-13. The Saints, not in surgical garb, humiliated the Bears 21-9. Ooh, What is it? Oh, sorry. And in the nightcap, a shocker. A shocker. Wait for the sound effect. And you'll wonder why I have a background. Here we go. The shocker of all shockers. The Cleveland Browns. I'm looking at my mom, by the way. The Cleveland Browns defeated, decimated, destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers 48-37. That was wild. Of course, as we all know, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Indianapolis Colts 27-24. Rams humiliated and, well, not humiliated, but humbled the Seahawks 30-20. And Tommy Buccaneer and his Buccaneers, defeated Washington 31-23. So this sets up a very interesting second part of our playoff menage a nous. We are going to go to the playoff brochet, and here we go. Let's first start out over with the divisional playoffs. It'll be the Rams and the Packers. That'll be an easy game. That'll be on CBS Saturday at 4:35 p.m. And also Sunday, the 17th at 6:40 p.m., it'll be the Buccaneers going against the Saints. Tom Brady going up against Drew Brees. That is going to be a ratings killer. So what about, now that's the NFC. How about the AFC? Well, the shockingly hot Cleveland Browns are going to be traveling to Kansas City. Kansas City, here they come. Sorry about that. Browns taking on the Chiefs. Time and network to be announced, but I do believe you can bet that game will be on Fox. Let's go two-stepping. Ravens taking on the Bills of Buffalo. You realize the way this playoffs fandango has gone, you had the Rams upset the Seahawks. You had the Browns upset the Steelers. Ravens versus Bills. I would not put it past the Bills to cream the Ravens. I would not pass it. Of course, after that, the division championships, and then the Super Bowl, of course, Super Bowl double nickel on CBS live from the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. I am going to make this slight prediction, taking a look at the divisional. I'm going to say Rams-Packers. Give me the Packers. And the Buccaneers-Saints. I am going to say if a mistake happens, it'll be New Orleans. I'm going to call it. I'm going to say Tommy Buccaneer is going to give Bruce Arians and his Buccaneer pals a trip to the divisional championship. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady. Packers, Buccaneers, book it. Meanwhile, unless the Chiefs have a complete collapse, the defending Super Bowl champions will pass the Browns and take on the Buffalo Bills. However, the way the Browns took care of the Steelers, I'm calling this one too close to call, but I am, in my heart, I want to see the Chiefs, Bills, but I wouldn't put it past the Cleveland Browns to sneak in early in the second or third quarter to make this an interesting game going down to the last minute. So, therefore,
They wouldn't help me.
I'm,
And now they're dead.
like I said, I'm still calling the Chiefs versus Bills,
Which led me to your identity.
but the Browns versus Bills could be even better, but I think the Chiefs are going to defend. It's going to go down to the last minute. For both the Browns, Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills, network to be determined, time to be determined.
I don't know what that is.
So there you go.
Second I log in, my command will be
Yeah.
able to track.
There you go.
Let me worry about that.
So here we go. It's Angel Soft.
What did you just do?
Let's go from the NFL.
Uncover identity for the operation. I must have miskeyed the password.
So here we go. Let's take you now to the NBA. Let's go to the NBA, shall we?
We need to buy ourselves some time.
There we go. NBA, we got it. We're going to give it to you. The NBA scoreboard, and of course, headlines, scoreboard, and everything else. You want it? We got it right here on a Super Sunday. New Orleans Jazz. New Orleans Jazz, no. Utah Jazz beat up on the Detroit Pistons 96-86. Clippers over Chicago. The Los Angeles Clippers over the Chicago Bulls 131-27. Oklahoma City Thunder put a stop to the Brooklyn Nets 129-116. Denver Nuggets over New York Knicks 114-89. Los Angeles Lakers, zoinks, defeated the Houston Rockets 120-102. If that's not enough, Timberwolves of Minnesota took care of the San Antonio Spurs 96-88. Golden State Warriors over the Toronto Raptors 106-105. And the only game postponed by the NBA, Miami Heat took on the Celtics. They were postponed. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep the joy to the world and go to the College of Basketball Knowledge. So if you is ready, so is we. And we only had 3 games today. Let's give it to you, and then we go to the top 25, and then we go to more headlines. So here we go. Here we go. Mary Lou. Here we go. Are you sure? Are you sure about this? Yes, I'm sure. We're going to Papa Rocket, baby. Papa Rocket. Here we go, kiddies. Take it easy, boys. Because, where are we? Oh, yeah, the NC2A men's. I'm going to do the ladies. It's ladies' night, and it feels so right. Yeah. Anyway, let's go for the scores. January 10th, which this is no longer. Wow, we got 3 little scoreboard for you here for college basketball. Let's give it to you, babies.
I'm pretty sure you can buy them at a
So are you ready? I know I is. Let's go to it. Let's go to it. Baba da boobity baby da bop. Show me some scores. And by the way, the scores for NCAA college basketball provided at no extra charge by the folks at Caesars and William Hill. Here we go. 5th ranked Iowa beat up 16th ranked Minnesota 86-71. Maryland defeated 12th ranked Illinois 66-63. 19th ranked Virginia Tech over Notre Dame 77-63. Now you're probably asking yourself, as many of you may be doing right here, right now, what about the top 25? How did they do? Well, I'm here to tell you how they did. Not bad. Let's give you the top 25 in a nutshell. And I'm telling you, the nuts really got shelled. Let's give you let's give you the rankings of the top 25 in Wazoo, boys, Wazoopers. Here we go, college basketball top 25 teams in order of disappearables. Let's go down the board like Casey Kasem. Number 26 on the board of 25. The good folk over at USC was number 26. Colorado, number 25. Rutgers, 24. UCLA, 23. Connecticut up 2 to 22. Oregon up 1 to 21. Clemson up 1 to 20. You're on your own. Oh, but I cannot be on my own here. Can we get unstuck here? Come on, boys. Here we go. Let's see. Connecticut, Oregon. 19th, up 1. St. Louis. Louisville, up 1 to number 18. Ohio State went up 1 to 17. Duke up 1 to 16. Minnesota even, stuck at 15. Wisconsin stuck at 14. Texas Tech stuck at 13. Houston stuck in 12. West Virginia stuck at 11. Tennessee stuck in 10th. Iowa 9th. Michigan 8th. Illinois 7th. Creighton 6th. Kansas 5th. Texas 4th. Villanova 3rd. Baylor 2nd. And still number 1 with a burrito. Gonzaga, still the number 1 ranked team in all rankability. There we go. Okay, leave us to give you what we like to call the headlines. That's right. Let's rock and jock to the headlines.
You're too late. In a few moments,
here we go. Kiddies and cadets. Headline.
Put the gun down, Chloe. It's not worth it.
Here we go.
Absolutely worth it. People deserve to know. No matter the cost. Hundreds of other agents.
Here we go. Kentucky basketball landed a commitment from West Virginia transfer Oscar Tshiebwe on Sunday, just 9 days after the Mountaineers announced that the preseason All Big 12 selection will be leaving the program due to personal reasons. The 6'9" former McDonald's All-American averaged 11.2 points and 9.3 rebounds as a freshman before seeing his role and productivity decline in the first 10 games this season. Though Tshiebwe likely will not be eligible until next season at the earliest, landing a proven big man is a big get for the Wildcats to have become increasingly reliant on transfers to counterbalance their annual influx of talented freshmen. Tshiebwe is not a perimeter or a threat or a great rim protector, but he is an elite rebounder and effective post scorer capable of bullying opponents with his physicality. Now, despite his preseason accolades, he found himself crowded out of the post at times early this season by fellow West Virginia big man Derek Culver, who was averaging 13.8 points and 10.8 rebounds. Neither player can space the floor out to the three-point line, and Tshiebwe was playing just 19.9 minutes per game when he decided to leave the program. There we go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going, Bubbles, and tell you that, the end of the world is here. At least the end of the world, the beginning of the end of the world of Donald Trump is coming because of all that happened in Washington on Wednesday. The PGA of America ended its relationship with Trump on Sunday night when its members voted to move the 2022 PGA Championship from its planned host site of Trump National in Bedminster in New Jersey. Trump Bedminster had been the scheduled host of the event since 2014, but the PGA of American president Jim Richardson spoke out this weekend following the president's incitement of violence ahead of an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday in Washington, D.C. Said the prez, Jim Richardson, quote, "It had become clear that conducting the PGA Championship at Trump Bedminster would be detrimental to the PGA of American brand and would put at risk the PGA's ability to deliver our many programs and sustain the longevity of our mission. Our board has thus made the decision to exercise to terminate the contract to hold the 2022 PGA Championship at Trump Bedminster. It was a decision made to ensure that the PGA of America and PGA professionals can continue to lead and grow our game for decades to come. This is not the first time a major golf organization distanced itself from Trump. The PGA Tour's WGC Cadillac Championship in 2016 moved away from Trump National Doral in Florida and eventually became the WGC Mexico Championship. The PGA of America's Grand Slam of Golf also canceled its event at Trump National in Los Angeles back in 2015 over some of Trump's statements on immigration. Trump Bedminster recently hosted the 2017 U.S. Women's Open, which was won by Sung Hyun Park. Trump showed up to the event as the sitting president. That tournament, put on by the USGA, was likely seen as a mere precursor to the main event in 2022, the first major championship at a Trump course. A spokesman for the Trump organization told ABC, "We've had a beautiful partnership with the PGA of America and are incredibly disappointed with their decision. This is a breach of a binding contract and they have no right to terminate the agreement. As an organization, we have invested many, many millions of dollars in the 2022 PGA Championship at Trump National Golf Club, Bedminster. We will continue to promote the game of golf on every level and remain focused on operating the finest golf courses anywhere in the world." Now, a lot has happened in the 7 years between when Trump Bedminster was awarded the PGA Championship and now, and it all culminated with this week's events in Washington, D.C. PGA of American CEO Seth Wall joined Richardson in speaking out against Trump and defending the PGA's move. Quote, "We find ourselves in a political situation not of our making. We're fiduciaries for our members, for the game, for our mission, and for our brand. And how do we best protect that? Our feeling was, given the tragic events of Wednesday, that we could no longer hold it at Bedminster. The damage could have been irreparable. The only real course of action was to leave. Our decision wasn't about speed and timing. What matters most to our board and leadership is protecting our brand and reputation and the ability for our members to lead the growth of the game, which they will do so through many powerful programs in their communities. Now, there is no replacement host set for the 2022 PGA Championship. While it seems like 17 months is plenty of time for the PGA of America to decide a new locale for 2022, major tournaments are planned years in advance. The PGA of America will be pressed by timing, which will be exacerbated by the pandemic, to choose a new course quickly and get the process of a new host underway. This year's event will be held at Kauai Island Golf Resort in South Carolina. As we said, this is definitely going to be the beginning of the end of the Trump dynasty, as more and more championships saying adios. Speaking of the NFL, which we weren't, but we're going to talk anyway about it. Let's get going. This time, the Cleveland Browns are on the right side of history in Sunday's little spanking at the Sunday night's wild card playoff game against Steelers. Cleveland screamed out to a 28-0 first quarter lead. The Browns' 28 first quarter points is the most by a team in NFL postseason history. The scoring spree started when Carl Joseph scooped up Marquise Pouncey's high snap in the end zone on the game's first play from scrimmage. Moments later, after M.J. Stewart picked off Ben Roethlisberger, Baker Mayfield and Jarvis Landry connected on a 40-yard pass. A Pittsburgh punt was followed by Kareem Hunt's 11-yard touchdown run. Sheldrick Redwine's pick of Roethlisberger on Pittsburgh's next postseason. Oh, this is lovely. Pick of Roethlisberger on Pittsburgh's next possession set up Hunt's 8-yard touchdown run. The Browns are trying to win their first playoff game since 2002 when Cleveland, led by Bill Belichick, defeated Bill Parcells' Patriots in the wild card round. Cleveland had a 24-7 lead over the Steelers in the 2002 wild card round, the last time Cleveland was in the playoffs, before Tommy Maddox rallied Pittsburgh to a 36-33 win. While a 28-point first quarter is staggering enough, making the Browns' quick start even more jaw-dropping is the fact that Cleveland was forced to practice virtually for most of the week due to a COVID-19 outbreak. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski, a Coach of the Year candidate, is watching the game at home after testing positive for the virus. Browns are also playing without starters Vernon, cornerback Denzel Ward, and offensive lineman Joel Bitonio. The Browns may have set first quarter postseason scoring record, but Washington's 1987 team still holds the record for most points scored in a single playoff game. Washington, behind 4 Doug Williams touchdown passes, scored 35 points in the second quarter of their 42-10 win over the Broncos in Super Bowl 22. Wow. And I say that with emphasis. Wow. All right, let's keep going. The NBA, well, they had a little problem, a little dust up. And how did that happen between the Lakers and Rockets? Well, simple. As I shall read. Tell Prop to get some. Fewer listing players most likely to get ejected from a game, whether because of technical fouls or physical altercation. Markieff Morris and DeMarcus Cousins would be at the top of the list. They showed why on Sunday when they were both ejected from the Los Angeles Lakers matchup with the Houston Rockets. Problems started late in the first quarter when Morris knocked down Jason Tate off the ball. Cousins, who was standing right there, responded with a forearm shiver that sent Morris to the floor himself. Unsurprisingly, Morris wasn't too pleased with that, so he jumped up and went right back at Cousins with a shove of his own. There was a whole lot of trying after that, said Morris. And Morris had to be held back before he was eventually calmed down by Montrezl Harrell and LeBron James. Referees went to the monitor to review the situation and determined that Morris and Cousins would each be given a technical foul. Morris also received a flagrant one and was given the ziggy. While Cousins rightly stayed in the game after that incident and it didn't last long, early in the second quarter, LeBron was driving to the basket and Cousins swiped down hard at the ball. But the only thing he hit was LeBron's head. The refs again went to the monitor and determined it was a flagrant 2 because of the wind-up and contact to the head. Cousins was ejected. Wow. More Morris and Cousins will end up catching fines, though. It remains to be seen if there'll be a significant figure beyond the normal amounts that technicals and the flagrants cost players. It's unlikely, though, that either of them will be suspended. Yes. Wow.
And we got very Brady surprise for you, our guest co-host, who's like family, Maureen McCormick. ET starts right now.
Okay, let's go from this angle to that angle. It's time for a little awful announcing news. Wow. Let's give you to you. And once again, let me see if I can turn down the force field. Oh, let me see if I can turn on the force field here a little bit so I don't get that lovely little. I'm sorry, we can't let you do this further. No, I don't want that. I want do. All right, let's shake a leg. Here we go on the ground here as we continue on. I think we're going full out. Now, determining awards and selections via fan vote has led to some unusual picks over the years, including John Scott in the NHL All-Star Game, Johnny Manziel over Jim Brown as the Browns' greatest player of all time, and the Dan Le Batard show attempt, unsuccessful, to send Louis Bruins into the MLB All-Star Game. The latest long lines was a Nickelodeon broadcast of the New Orleans Saints 21-9 win over Chicago Bears. Yes, I did say Nickelodeon broadcast. In the NFL wildcard playoff game Sunday, presenting Chicago quarterback Mitch Trubisky, who completed just 19 29 passes for 199 yards and a touchdown, with the touchdown and many of the yards coming in garbage time. With the fan voted MVP, Nickelodeon Valuable Player, and a vote that wasn't even close. I mean, the end of voting, it was Trubisky at 49%, Akeem Hicks 16%, and Cameron Jordan getting the Beaver 8%. Now, some of that may have come from Barstool Sports. Dan Katz has repeatedly used hashtag Mitch for MVP hashtag and repeated encouragements for fans to vote. Now, some of the issue here of having people vote for a valuable player who is anything but valuable is an issue, is that people could easily vote multiple times and just keep voting. So that leads to a poll outcome that's much easier to manipulate than if you limit it to one vote per IP address or something of the sort. And it's pretty funny when the outcome comes after an awful performance, and one that might be Trubisky's last in a Bears uniform. His contract is up. At any rate, this all means that Trubisky won the Nickelodeon Valuable Player, and that led to a lot of funny media coverage. Oh, wow. Speaking of coverage, let's talk about that, shall we, as Awful Announcing did. Would you like to know? Would you? Well, let's have it this way. The grand experiment that CBS did with Nickelodeon broadcasting their first ever live NFL game or any live sporting event in Nickelodeon's history. By the way, for those of you asking, yes, Nickelodeon and CBS are part of the Ultra Uber Viacom CBS family of networks. Well, Nickelodeon's broadcast of the wild card game playoff between the Bears and the Saints was fun. Not for Bears fans, disappointed at their team's 28-9 loss. Fans, along with the NFL, CBS, and Nickelodeon executives, could not have hoped for more from the kid-friendly telecast. Note, I said kid-friendly. Best of all, viewers responding to the broadcast on social media largely seemed to accept the entire effort in the spirit of which was intended. Those who wanted a regular NFL broadcast, you could turn on the Big Shot, Big Eyeball, CBS. You could watch Jim Nantz from New Orleans, Tony Romo. Due to COVID, had to do it from the Dallas-Fort Worth CBS-owned and operated station KTVT. But anybody who wanted something a bit different, albeit without much serious football talk, had a memorable alternative on Nickelodeon. And for regular Nickelodeon viewers wondering why football was on their channel rather than cartoons or sitcoms, SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star appeared to fill viewers in. And oh, you also got a lesson in football. And what can we say? Wow. Prior to kickoff, Nickelodeon, the broadcast team, and play-by-play announcer Noah Eagle, son of Ian, with analyst Nate Burleson, former Detroit Lion, and present one of the three-headed good guys over at Extra. Nope, correction, not Extra. No, it is Extra, isn't it? Yes, it is Extra. Thank you, boys. And Nickelodeon star Gabrielle Neva Green explained NFL scoring rules to the audience, which also included explaining some of the rules, the star of Young Sheldon. Presuming that viewership may have been watching an NFL football game for the first time on a kids' network was a frequent theme throughout the night, and the telecast eagle would explain why there was a bright line on the field, in this case a pulsing green and orange line rather than the standard yellow marker. Burleson might compare star players to a Nickelodeon show. For instance, the Saints' Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara were like Keenan and Kel from all that. Green served as the entry for the new audience, asking questions about what was happening and maybe why. Nickelodeon stars were also helpful in that regard. What's the turnover, Patrick? They'll show it to you. Another particularly fun feature was Young Sheldon from CBS sitcom, with frequent reruns on Nick popping up on the screen to explain penalties such as a false start. Now, that kid needs to return for a regular NFL broadcast to explain why catches were ruled incomplete or pass interference wasn't called. As a rules analyst, young Sheldon almost was as well dressed as Mike Pereira. Now, after the novelty of googly-eyed exploding clouds and slime cannons wore off early on, regular football fans tuning in may have noticed that there wasn't very much in-depth football analysis. Eagle and Burleson weren't explaining why Chicago's quarterback may have been seen in the Saints' defense. There was no insight into the play calling or game planning of New Orleans coach Sean Payton. Come on, boys. That sort of commentary shouldn't have been expected on this telecast, but fans accustomed to a certain type of analysis and insight from broadcast might have eventually felt that it was lacking and perhaps switched over to the conventional, rather traditional CBS broadcast. Again, CBS and Nickelodeon are part of the Viacom CBS family of networks, void where prohibited by law. Nickelodeon's coverage definitely paid off in the way viewers expected. Those who wanted slime cannons superimposed on the end zone when a touchdown was scored were not disappointed. Breeze to Thomas for a score in slime. And SpongeBob appeared between the uprights on field goal attempts. Yay. Though the broadcast was intended to be fun, which there was no intention to make fun of any players for mistakes, mishaps, or boobies on the field. That may have been best demonstrated by a terrible drop by Bears receiver Javon Wims, letting a sure touchdown catch slip through his mighty hands. Googly eye slime or a head surrounded by question marks would have been an excellent accompaniment for such a faux pas, but Wims suffered no such ridicule. Now, maybe a Band-Aid over Cordell Patterson's mouth or soap could have been used when he was caught yelling the F word at a referee just before halftime. The adult content couldn't be entirely kept out of a kids-themed telecast, unfortunately. Speaking of halftime, maybe they should have done all the first half highlights with Minecraft type graphics. And that would have been something, don't you think? Now, one aspect of the broadcast that stood out as, well, weak was Burleson frequently relying on analogies that kids could presumably relate to when explaining football situations. Mitchell Trubisky being benched early in the season for Nick Foles, for example, was like getting grounded by her parents. On offense, getting first down was like having homework, and advancing to the red zone was taking the test, etc. Burleson probably went to the analogies a little too often, and some of them were definitely stretches. But the intent to reach out to the young audience and make football more relatable was a worthy effort. Getting tackled was like falling down wooden stairs. Well, that was okay. Now, his willingness to be playful and clever, goofing around with Green and joking he would slime Eagle later on, showed he was the right choice for this role. He had fun with it, maintaining the lighter tone for a broadcast, while the CBS side was more traditional. Now, perhaps the best thing to say about Nickelodeon's NFL playoff broadcast is that it would be enjoyable to see such a production again. The Kids Network and its corporate parent, CBS, or its corporate sister, put some impressive production work into the telecast, and the effort showed. The team was ready with goofy, entertaining graphics, going to commercial breaks. Players' bios was informative, like their favorite ice cream flavor. this was indeed a fun way to watch a football game, especially one that wasn't competitive. And it was clever by CBS and the NFL to reach a young, impressionable audience and ideally create new fans. Maybe parents and their kids watched an NFL game together for the first time because of this. Other sports and networks should make this same effort. Now, when Sean Payton gets into the spirit and keeps his promise to get slimed that the Saints won the game, you know it was fun. So I'm going to say, but unfortunately, they didn't. He didn't stick around to be slimed. So hey, maybe next season. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, we move on. I know we're getting close to the bye-bye. And what can we say but wazoo? I will tell you, I'm going to say it. It was fun. And Cordell Patterson dropping an F-bomb on the Nickelodeon broadcast. Ooh. How's this for a little sad news? Major League Baseball is expecting a reduced TV rights fee from the upcoming TV rights deal from ESPN. The general trend when it comes to pro sports broadcasting rights is that the next deal is always bigger than the one you have now. However, thanks to ongoing audience trends that existed long before COVID, coupled with the impact of the last year, it's expected that MLB is looking at a big old reduction on their upcoming deal negotiations with the four-letter tap dancer. The previous deal between Major League Baseball and ESPN was for $5.6 million over 8 years, coming out to around $700 million per year. The new agreement, according to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic, sources would be for $3.8 billion over 7 years, which would come out to around $550 million per year. The drop in overall value is coupled with a reduction in the number of games that ESPN will carry exclusively, which will be cut by more than half. The league may reportedly try to sell those games to traditional linear and digital media companies, though no one has quite bitten yet. ESPN will keep its Sunday Night Baseball inventory and will also hold on to the rights for the Home Run Derby. They'll also continue to have rights to a yet-to-be-determined number of playoff games, which New York Post reported in December. Now, ESPN's interest in midweek games has been dropping in recent years as ratings have suffered. ESPN also does not have exclusivity in midweek games, unlike how it does on Sunday nights. Now, it's not all bad news for Major League Baseball, as a loss in revenue from ESPN is offset recently by renewed deals with Fox Sports and Turner Sports, both of which trend positively for the league. Fox deal was up to $525 million from the previous one, while Turner jumped up by $325 million. It's worth noting that those deals involve more exclusive and major events such as the All-Star Game, the League Championship Series, and the World Series. Ultimately, the changes to the ESPN deal could end up working very well for Major League Baseball in the end. Certainly, there's a lack of national exposure that comes with fewer games on ESPN. But a focus on the regional sports network partners, soon to be known as Valley Sports, and MLB.TV out-of-market packages could benefit from changes, helping drive up revenue for the individual clubs. There's also some potential for deals with new partners like social media platforms and online networks. It's 52 minutes past the hour, and I know not why the cage bird sings. Please don't ask me. And if you're ready for this, if you're a hockey fanatic, if you love the San Jose Sharks, well, you're a bit out of luck. If you want to listen to it on the radio, San Jose Sharks announced this week that they were ending their relationship with radio broadcasting partner 98.5 KFOX and will now move all of their audio broadcasts to their team's website and mobile app. The Sharks Audio Network will debut Tuesday, January 12th at 8 a.m. on sjsharks.com and Sharks Plus SAP Center app. The network will feature programming related to both the Sharks and the San Jose Barracuda, the team's AHL affiliate, which includes game audio broadcasts as well as exclusive programming with Sharks head coach Bob Bogner, Sharks GM Doug Wilson, player profiles, game and highlights, and replays. Catch up with Sharks alumni, classic Sharks games, as well as an opportunity for fans to interact with Sharks and Barracuda hosts and personalities. That's right. Longtime team play-by-play announcer Dan Rustikowski will continue in that role for his 30th year, along with analysts Scott Hanahan, Mark Smith, Randy Hahn, Brett Hidekian, and Ted Ramsey will also continue to be contributors to the network. Now, San Jose had partnered with KFox as their flagship radio partner since the 2000 to 2001 NHL season. The station, which lacks the signal strength to reach certain parts of the Bay Area, wasn't meeting the needs of the franchise as it tries to expand their reach. Scott Emmert, the Sharks Vice President of Communications, said this certainly was not a situation where we were dissatisfied with KFox. They've been a great partner to us, but the reality is even the strongest signals have their limitations. There are only so many 50,000-watt flamethrowers out there. With a lot of the competition that we have in the market with other professional teams, the reality is some of those options are limited. Emmert added that it is possible the team will have some future broadcasts on terrestrial radio, but for the time being, they want to keep all of their audio broadcasting on one spot. For a statement by Brian A. Fila, the Director of Programming Operations at KFox, all of us at 98.5 KFox and Bonneville are big fans and supporters of the Sharks, and we value our history together. We are presently working with them in ways that continue what is a long-term partnership and that are responsive to the significant changes in the market. Now, while the team did experiment with some digital-only audio broadcasts, the initial reaction has been less than universally appreciated, including this little cadaver. This sucks. Stop changing things that don't need to be changed. We already had access to this on the app for a while now, and trying to find where to listen on the app has been torturous. As it is now, in an easily found spot, this was not a good move. How would they know? Many fans noted that the Oakland A's also rolled out a similar web-only audio broadcast last year, and blowback from the fans led them to return to AM radio during the season. But there were also some positive reaction to the news from fans who are excited for the ability to listen to Sharks games beyond the reach of the radio stations. Yay. Now it's going to take some time, and of course they fully understand that there's probably going to be some growing pains and maybe even a few hiccups along the way, Emmert told the Mercury News. But we were very encouraged by what we saw last year, both from a technical perspective and from the ability to do things a little different and interact with fans. We really think we have something to build off there and are looking forward to not only retaining the audience, but continuing to grow it as we produce more and more content. Really. Why do I see in the future all teams doing this? Think about it, peepers. Think about it, shall we? Okay, folks. We say hello to our friends on Facebook, Twitter, Parler, which goes silent. Twitter, Parler, Instagram, of course, TikTok as well. There you go. Nice pa. All right, let's get down to relax a little bit, and then I'm going to say goodnight to you, do a little yucky, and celebrate the finest moments of life, also known as getting the heck to sleep. Sleepy time for Bonzo, in other words. Yes, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's hit some balls. Base, soccer, and basket. Along with a little hockey. So if you guys and gals are ready in the control room, let's bop it and not stop it. In das Bundesliga, Stuttgart and Augsburg 4-1. Stuttgart over Augsburg. Arminia Blyfield over Hertha Berlin 1-0 in Italy. AS Roma and Inter tied at 2. Lazio defeated Parma 2-0. Napoli over Udinese 2-1. Verona over Crotone with that same score 2-1. Fiorentina over Cagliari a 1-0 victory. And Juventus 3-1 winner over Sassuolo. In Espanyol, Levante over Eibar 2-1. Cadiz over Alves 3-1. And Valladolid lost to Valencia 1-0. Let's get to the basketball. And we do it like this. Trieste over in Italy, Lega A. Trieste over Fortitudo Bologna, 82-69. Pizarro over Brescia, 98-88. Cesari over Cantu, 98-92. Venzia over Reggiana, 95-75. In Spain, Gran Canaria, a 96-85 winner over Juventud Badalona. Jabusco over Tenerife, 89-87. And Baskonia over Unicaja, 91-79. Let's get you over to the Czech Republic in hockey. And here we go. Liberec over Triniac, 2-0. In overtime, it was Plzeň over Kometa Brno, 3-2. Sparta Prague over Mountfield, 4-1. Mlada Boleslav over Olomouc, 4-2. Kesk Bujovic over Ziln, 3-1. Litvinov slam dance Pardubice 5-0. And Vipkovic over Karlovy Vary 4-1. And that, my friends, not yet, because we got a little basketball to talk to you about. That's right, we do a little basketball. Because 'tis the season to be nice. Fa la 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 la. Oi. So if y'all's ready, let's rock and roll. In Venezuela, the LVBP Margarita over Caracas 9-1. Zulia over Anzoátegui 4-1. Lara over Aruga 11-4. Margarita over Caracas 6-2. LaGuardia over Magallanes 5-4. Anzoátegui beat Zulia 8-5. Aragua over Lara 9-4. And Magdalenas over LaGuardia 6-5. In Colombia, only one game to talk about, and that was the Vaqueros de Monteria 7-3 winners over Tigres. And in Cuba, Cities Nacional Industrials were up and won over Artima 4-3. Pinar del Rio over Holgun 7-2. Artissima over Industrialis in the second game 8-1. And ladies and gentlemen, as we have said many times, many ways, that's all there is. There is no more. And we say to thee, thank you very much for tuning in on a Sunday. We will be back on Monday. Why? Because we have to. I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley, and this has been a Mystifying Creativity sports presentation in association with the L2C Media Network and L2C Sports. Talk to you on Monday. Keep the peace, and as always, we give you this. Blessings. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There we go. If I do it in 3, I'll just do it like that. Okay. For your garden. Good night, everybody. Have a good one. I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley for everybody here on the set and staff and everybody else. Steve Baxley, the Baxman, signing off. Talk to you tomorrow.